reflection, for liberty. It is a beginning of a new place in your lives.
A projection for the forthcoming year was established based on the evaluation of the year under review 2016-2017. The following was considered. The matriculation rate would reach 100%. The technical department would be expanded. The Allied building would be established. The agricultural science plot would be fenced and secured. The hard code would be completed, which we long waiting for. The garbage disposal would be better managed. The area around the patio would be upgraded, as we started already. The aesthetic compound, beauty and the compound would be improved. The science laboratory would be equipped with modern technology. Acknowledgement. I wish to express my sincere thanks to both the academic and ancillary staff for the sterling support and valuable assistance for the year under review 2016-2017. I am so grateful for the immense help to ensure that this school runs smooth as ever. The school was kept well, so it therefore gives me the privilege and intense love to express my thanks to my entire staff for a job well done. Thank you so much, my teachers.
As I said, each of you will recall your first day here when you were deposited as first form students, bursting with excitement and of course with much fear and trepidation about what high school meant. Each of you can identify with today's theme because you have had to face and overcome various challenges and obstacles to get here. There may have been many hardships along the way, deaths in the family, financial constraints, or even traveling far distances just to be here in time for when the school bell rang. Whatever it or they may have been, I am confident that you would have weathered many storms. We, and by we I mean your parents, relatives, teachers, and well-wishers who are here this afternoon, are immensely proud of you, and you therefore must take pride in yourselves for your achievements. There is a lesson here, and I remind you that the last 5, 6, or 7 years' challenges have been a series of lessons not only of the academic type, but also perhaps more importantly about life itself. You have grown up from being boys and girls to now today being young adult men and women. You have discovered things about yourselves, habits, both good and bad. Unfortunately, they're the bad ones that you have to learn to control and eradicate eventually. You have discovered that God has placed in you skills and abilities that you know to yourselves you did not develop, or no one else in your family has them. And finally, you have cast your eyes forward to the lives that you want for yourselves. Without realizing it, for the most part, these years of high school have been years of sculpting and preparing you for the marvelous journey of life that lies ahead. This is why, in many parts of the world, this graduation exercise is known as a coming-of-age ceremony. Life, as you will go on to find out, is a series of challenges that must be overcome. And everyone seated here, including you graduates, have had to overcome challenges to be present here today. These challenges and frustrations will never end and will always have a degree of difficulty in them. If you panic and doubt yourselves, you will not make it. But if you believe that if your parents and persons like myself and Dean could make it, then you can as well. Trust your God-given instincts and intellect and your talents and experiences, and build on those, and I guarantee you that you will be okay. Each of us has been created to be a special purpose unit or person, to be fitted at the workstation of the universe. And so I challenge you to discover what you are good at and hone those skills, and you will find that your life's journey will be easier than if you determine to become what you were not created to be. Many of us try to pursue careers that we're just not cut out to pursue. I tried my hand at technical drawing, I failed. They moved me into sewing and home ec, I failed there too. And so I knew I was never meant to be an artist or anything of that nature. English, literature, history, those came naturally, and so I stand here before you. In the book of Jeremiah of the Holy Bible, God said to the prophet, I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. Before you were born, I set you apart and appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Each of you has been created and uniquely crafted and invested with skills for a special purpose. There's no other person like you, and your failure to recognize who you are and take up your role and responsibility sets God's plans awry. Remember that. I wasn't asked to be the speaker today because I'm a minister of government, appointed by the president no less, but rather because I was an old student of this illustrious high school who, like you, has faced challenges and has persevered and can stand as an example of what is possible. For those of you who may have heard before, I remember mock exams. That's the last exams you write before your finals. My overall pass mark was 10%. And the headmaster wrote in my report, what exams will you ever pass? What exams will you ever pass? I've since gone on to study at some of the best universities in the world. So there's no such thing as a dunce or slow learner. Sometimes it has to do with ability. And so I like to tell that story of where I've come from and where it is all of you can go. Try not to take yourselves too seriously. You know, we politicians, we take ourselves too seriously, so don't become cynical like us. I'm not saying don't enter politics, but don't take yourself too seriously. And so I commend to you 3 L's. Live, love, and laugh. Live good and productive lives based on some strong spiritual values. Love God, love yourselves for who you are, and find good people to love. And I believe that the greatest gift of life is to experience the joy of love. So build healthy relationships, invest in them, and protect them. I say to you as well, laugh. We don't laugh enough, and we pay the price for it, and it becomes like a bile in our systems that seeps into our souls and makes us bitter and caustic persons. I found 2 quotes on laughter that I feel compelled to share with you. The first one simply says, he who laughs, and I should say, and paraphrase as well, he or she who laughs, lasts. Very simple but profound words by Mary Pettibone Poole. And the second quote is, and I quote it, a smile starts on the lips, a grin spreads to the eyes, a chuckle comes from the belly, but a good laugh bursts forth from the soul. It overflows and bubbles all around. That is by Carlin Birmingham. It is not a coincidence, I believe, that both of these quotes came from women. I personally believe that women are God's greatest creation and that they understand life and their role. I believe that they understand life and their role, alongside men better than we men understand life and ourselves. Why do you think God ensured that women conceived and carried babies in their wombs? We men couldn't handle it at all. At all. Men just couldn't handle it. And so men, it is our duty, and young men, it is your duty to love, to respect, and to protect the women, even as you pursue and accomplish our assignments and our vocations. And so as I come to the end, I say to you, honor always your Creator, your parents, your teachers who have brought you this far, your close relatives and your friends. It is in this matrix that your support will come, and likewise, you will be able to provide support to others. I asked the head teacher about the patio. I don't know what it's like now, but it used to be a very sacred place. Certain things you could do here, and certain things you couldn't do, and some of us used to get away with a lot of things that we shouldn't have been allowed to. And so as a product of this school, I am pledging to myself and to the staff and to the students and to this class that by graduation next year we're going to refurbish this patio. So we're going to get an estimate. I see chewing gum pasted all over. I see some of the ceiling getting old and rotting and getting worn. It is time for a new patio, I think. So that is my commitment to you. So I close by saying to you, remember always to honor this school by seeking knowledge, spreading the seeds of love, and humbly serving humanity. May God bless and keep you and cause his face to shine on you as you go into the world to make your mark and to add value to it. Thank you very much.
His Excellency, the author of several books, including National Defense, A Small State in the Subordinate System, Caribbean Geopolitics, Security, Stability and Sovereignty in Small States, Public Security, Criminal Violence and Policing in Guyana, and Public Policy, the Crisis of Governance in Guyana. His academic awards include the President's Medal, Dennis Irvin Prize, Council of the University Prize, Elsa Govaya Medal of Excellence, Guy de Weaver History Prize, and the Earl Atlee History Prize from the University of Guyana. His military awards include the Efficiency Medal, the Military Service Medal, and the Military Service Star for Distinguished Military Service. President Granger is married to Sandra Nee Chanasu and is the father of 2 daughters. Madam Chairperson, please allow me to ask the gathering to stand as I welcome His Excellency to the podium.
I'm very happy and very proud to be here this afternoon to participate in this graduation ceremony. At a personal level, the Granger and Chanasu families have a strong and long connection with St. Joseph's High School. My wife herself is an alumna, and 4 of my sisters and 3 of her sisters attended St. Joseph's when it was located in Charlestown. So there are 4 Granger girls and 4 Chanasu girls. You could imagine I'm a stranger among so many ladies, all graduates of this prestigious high school. So I feel that it's a very personal duty for me to be here in tribute to my sisters, unfortunately, who I've lost, and some of my sisters-in-law, too. But St. Joseph's and its graduates have inspired generations in their quest for academic excellence. And one such graduate, who I think is an exemplar for all students, is Elsa Vesta Govaya. Elsa Govaya was the first female student in the entire country to win the British Guyana Scholarship in 1944. She was the first West Indian to win the Pollard Prize for English History. She was the first professor of West Indian history and the first female to hold a chair at the University College of the West Indies. There's no doubt in my mind that she is the most outstanding Guyanese historian of all time, and she is a graduate of St. Joseph High. And when she won the Guyana Scholarship, there was only 1 scholarship a year. I think the next year Forbes Burnham won the scholarship. So there's 1 scholarship a year, and she was the best of the best. Elsa Govaya is the most respected historian, not only in Guyana, and you hear other historians, another alumna of this school, Sister Noel Meniz, speak of her. And I'm especially honored when I myself was a history student to have won an academic award which bears her name. That is the Elsa Govaya Medal of Excellence. So I'm happy to announce today that the headmaster and the faculty, I believe, will allow me to make a presentation of the Elsa Gavaya Shield for the best graduating student in history. And I was a little upset at his remarks that there was some stress on the Department of History. So I'll see what I can do about that. In June, I did something for science, technology, and engineering and mathematics. Now I'm forced to reconsider my generosity. Students, you might have heard me before, and today I repeat an old adage of an Anglican dean. I'm an Anglican, you know. William Ralph Anger. And for me, it's something you should write over your bedhead. The proper time to influence the character of a child is 100 years before he's born. I'm getting close to that. The proper time to influence the character of a child is 100 years before he's born. What Dean Anger meant is that the quality of a child's character is rooted in the values inculcated in that child by his or her parents and grandparents, her peers, and the school. And these experiences are distilled through the passage of time. And so it is with St. Joseph's. As I said to St. Rose's and to St. Stanislaus a few days ago, St. Joseph's High is part of what I call the Georgian League of colleges in Guyana. St. Joseph's High is one of the 6 sisters which consisted of imposing educational edifices which were erected in the post-emancipation era in Georgetown and New Amsterdam. I call them Georgia because there was a style of architecture which is called Georgian architecture. When you look at the Prime Minister's residence, or you look at St. George's Cathedral, you look at City Hall, you really have to wear dark glasses when you look at City Hall nowadays. So you'll be blinded by the rot, but that's another matter. But Georgetown used to be the home of some magnificent wooden buildings. And these 6 sisters all grew out of those magnificent buildings. They were examples of what I call a pseudo-Georgian style of wooden architecture, which up to now is still part of Guyana's heritage. And as I repeated before, St. Stanislaus, these 6 sisters are Queen's College, which is 173 years old, St. Rose's High, which was established in 1847 and is now 170 years old. St. Stanislaus, established in 1866, celebrated its 150th anniversary last year. Bishop's High, established in 1870, is 147 years old. St. Joseph's High, established in 1897, as the headmaster said, is 120 years old this year. Happy birthday, St. Joseph's. And Berbice High, established in 1916, the youngest sister, celebrated its centenary only last year. But these 6 sisters share several common characteristics. As you see, they're all over 100 years old, but they're also the products of Christian endeavor. And they are still, after more than a century, the gold standard by which secondary education is measured in Guyana. It is not surprising that these 6 sisters remain among Guyana's finest, and among them, of course, is St. Joseph's High. As you know from your school history, St. Joseph was established by a Roman Catholic religious order, the Religious Sisters of Mercy. And many of the nuns of that order still put the RSM behind their names. Catherine Macaulay, the founder of the order from Ireland, inherited a fortune and she used that fortune to take care of and to provide an education for homeless women and children. Very frequently I've gone to New York and I've gone to the school called the Catherine Macaulay School. So you can see that her generosity was not only here in South America, but also in North America and Ireland. Education for Catherine Macaulay was a gateway to greater opportunities for disadvantaged women. And it was this ambition and this tradition of education which brought the Religious Sisters of Mercy here to Georgetown in 1897 to establish a secondary school for girls. St. Joseph, like St. Stanislaus and St. Roses and the other saints, started as what I would call a sectarian school, provided education for Roman Catholics and for girls. St. Joseph has now become a secular school, coeducational school, and faith and gender are no longer qualifications for entry. I believe that thereby, you may argue with this because many people were not happy with the establishment of coeducational schools, as you can see in the daily newspapers. But I do believe that St. Joseph became an example of our socially cohesive culture. It is more inclusive, and it proves that in the absence of discrimination and in the absence of segregation, a multicultural country like ours can break down ethnic barriers and foster social relations based on integration and cooperation. This is very important for me. On Diwali night, those of you who drove along Main Street would have seen a row of diyas leading into the State House. I'm a Christian, but Guyana is a multicultural country. And those here diyas celebrated the Hindu festival of Diwali. Similarly, at Eid al-Fitr, Muslims came into State House to have their post-Ramadan feast. And this is how Guyana must be, socially cohesive and inclusive. In the past, many of these schools were exclusive. They were Catholics only, or boys only. But now, we've integrated, whatever that means. The class of 2017, not only here at St. Joseph's, but everywhere in this country, will inherit the biggest, the most beautiful, and the most bountiful country in the Caribbean, Guyana. You will inherit the Green State. I can't take it with me. Minister Trotcom can't take it with him. You have to inherit that Green State. This is a state that is rich in natural resources. That's why he's called Minister of Natural Resources. A rich man. This is a state that is the habitat of some of the rarest flora and fauna on Earth. The Green State of which I speak is one that will preserve its biodiversity, one that will protect its environment, and one that will promote energy use from renewable sources. It's one that you will be proud of, just as you're proud of this school. You should be proud of Guyana, what we have, and what we will bequeath to you, and you will bequeath to future generations. Headmaster, students, this graduating class, therefore, has the opportunity to combine its human capital that we see in these robes. This graduating class can contribute and combine its human talent with the country's natural capital to generate growth in this green state. The country, to do so, needs scientists, engineers, and technicians, and historians, but science and engineers first. As your headmaster said, I was happy last June to present $1 million to St. Joseph as one of the high schools to improve their science and technology laboratories under the National Endowment for Science and Technology. More will come. I said that science is essential to our country's development. And I've been actively promoting science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education to encourage schools, to encourage students, to encourage teachers to pay more attention to STEM subjects, which will equip young people with the skills to develop our country. We need biologists, we need botanists, we need zoologists. I said then, that was in June, we need the arts and humanities, but we also need science and technology. And I ask that we give a special encouragement to children who are gifted in science and technology. We should give special facilities to schools that provide the resources for children to enter the field of science and technology. And as you would have learned, that we received a grant from the People's Republic of China earlier this month. And I asked for the entire grant of nearly $50 million to be given to the Cyril Potter College of Education to improve its laboratories. I could have bought ice cream, but every cent has gone into Cyril Potter College of Education, so we have more science teachers, better equipment in the laboratories, and that is how Guyana is going to open up this country with engineers and technicians. St. Joseph, by force of circumstance, having 4 sisters, a wife, and 3 sisters-in-law, I admire you. You embody the values and standards of 120 years of education and tradition. I am convinced from everything I know about this school that you live up to the standards, you live up to the original motto, to know, to love, and to serve. And I look to you to know Guyana better, to love Guyana, and to serve Guyana. I look to you to hold high the school's flag, as your chairperson said, true blue, and your school shield. Students' education at St. Joseph must be grounded not only in academic achievements, but also in values and standards. If it's to fulfill its motto and fulfill its mission, it was that motto, that mission, as well as the contribution of the staff over the years, and of course the exemplars like Professor Elsa Govaya, which made St. Joseph a bellwether of educational excellence. I pray that this motto will remain your beacon as we embark into the world of work or further study. I congratulate you all who are graduating today. I wish you every success in life. I thank your headmaster and the staff of St. Joseph's, and I pray that God will bless you in everything you do. Thank you.